Okay, here's another very important aspect of your carburettor check and clean process. This is the float. It's called a float because that's what it does. It floats and it's set at a predetermined level. That float level at which it's set is very, very important. It's a very important part of the fine tuning process, which we'll get onto later. But that's your fastening point there, and it is attached to this little fellow there. Now what you must do to ensure that your float does exactly that, does exactly what it's intended to do, and that is float, you must get a container full of solvent, fuel. The fuel which is used by this carburettor. Petrol, gasoline, call it what you like. And then what you do is you get that float and you put it at the bottom of the container with a little bit of a weight on top of it. So it's actually submerged at the bottom of the container, and you allow it to sit there for 3-4 hours. Let it sit there overnight, and then come out in the morning, take the weight off it, and watch it float to the surface. That test there determines if this float has what's known as porosity, if it's porous, if it has holes in it. If it has holes in it and it's compromised or deteriorated, it will turn into a sinker, and it will stay at the bottom of the fuel-filled container and not come to the surface once you take the weight off. So it's very, very important to qualify over a long period of time that the float has no minute holes in it. That's the best way to qualify it. You might say that you only need to check for holes on the bottom of the float, that half which is submerged in the water, and not the top. Not so. While you're going over bumpy roads, you're getting fuel all over the place. So just submerge it at the bottom of the container and check 5 hours later or the following morning after 8 or 10 hours that when you remove that weight that's holding it to the bottom, that float comes straight up to the top. That way you'll be sure it has no holes and it floats as a float should do.